Okay, and I'm recording. I just burped. So that's okay.
It's okay. We all
Okay.
do it.
Welcome back to another episode.
Welcome.
I had questions that I was thinking of for you. Do
Oh.
you have a snack that you feel like others would be off put by if you ate it around them?
I eat pickles.
Okay.
In the office, I'll eat pickles.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like people don't really like that, but the people I work with, they just say they don't like pickles, but they don't shame me for eating them.
Okay, I like that.
Yeah. You?
I guess a snack that would maybe be, but I don't think it'd be that weird, would be just my love of seaweed. Just eating it all the time.
Oh.
I love it.
I'm holding this today. I'm switching it up. Sometimes I feel like I'm gonna get an arch in my back for leaning over.
Mm.
Um, like the solid seed, like you just eat it like chips.
Yeah, any type. Like they have some that are like deep fried. They have some that are just in a little container that you would use for like sushi, but it's so good.
Mhm. I'm not a seaweed gal, but I understand people who do eat
Mm.
it. Another thing I eat that I feel like it may be off-putting is sunflower seeds because I just eat those suckers.
Mm-hmm.
Like I just need something for my hand to do. And so I feel like that could be off-putting if you're not ready for me to be eating it. You know what I
I
mean?
guess that one would be a good one because you're pulling out stuff out of your mouth.
Yeah. Like it's never slobbery or anything, but it is like,
Right.
something goes in my mouth and then comes out. My tongue is involved, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah. That one's a good off put one.
yeah. So I
Mm.
really only eat those alone. I don't really eat those in front friends. I don't really eat those around other people.
That's fair. I had other questions, but I never write them down. So eventually they'll come back to me. But any talking points from you today?
Oh, I have something to share. I traveled very far to go watch the U.S. women's rugby team.
Ooh.
And I'm here to ask you because you have family. Here's the thing. It was last Friday and I got these yesterday,
Oh, fun. Okay.
which was definitely after Friday. I am just here to ask um you if you cuz you have family who played rugby. Do you know about it?
Yes, I do. It's like a combo, I would say, between soccer and football, to be honest, based on kind of what they're doing.
Yeah, I knew nothing. I bought the tickets knowing nothing. I still but here's the thing. While watching it, I became a huge fan.
It's fun to watch, but it
Big
is
fan.
very aggressive.
So fun. I know, but everyone was so strong, and that was fun to watch. Also, it was the girlies, and like the umps were girlies, the medics were girlies, like everyone was a girly, and it was really fun to watch.
I love that. Also, she put on a rugby hat for those who are just listening to our audio. It says
Oh,
USA Rugby.
yes. It does say USA Rugby. I got it from uh whatever the rugby uh website is, but
Mm.
it did get here days after the rugby game match. I'm
I
learning.
don't know. That's a good question, but
Okay,
I love
well,
that.
I called it a game, and I feel like it felt right, but um, I'm really not sure. I don't know anything. I just knew that I had a great time, and I knew that you had family who played, and I
Hmm.
didn't know if that was something you. Are there sports that not necessarily everyone knows about that you enjoy watching or playing?
Mm, no. Uh, I guess for me, I like watching sports in person, but I don't like watching it on TV. I also, okay,
I
so
don't either.
hockey has been a thing that we've recently been introduced like going to, but I don't like the
Mm,
fighting. I've never been a fighting
okay,
person, so that's upsetting to
that
me. People are like, hit him in the
that's where
head.
you and I differ.
I don't like
Oh,
it.
I don't want to initiate one. I want one to come on naturally. But the first professional baseball game I went to was I was with my family and the pitcher hit the
Mm.
batter and everyone came out of everywhere and it was like a brawl and they got it figured out pretty soon, but that was my first intro to professional sports and so a little part of me is just always like ready for a fight to happen.
I don't like
Um
fighting. It really makes me
I
uncomfortable.
I I don't personally ever want to fight anybody, but and like I don't like it in the wild. I like there to be referees involved. I want someone to be able to break it up. Um, but but I went to a hockey game once and nothing happened.
Every time I've gone, they fight. But also, it's probably because
Really?
growing up, my grade school bus, we always had fights on there, and I hated that. I was so scared for my
Your
life.
bus definitely, your bus definitely had
I mean,
fights
we
on
stopped
it.
every single night on the side of the road, on the side of the highway, because people were
Yeah.
fighting, spitting blood at each other. It was horrible. It was a bad time.
Oh my
So that's probably
God.
rubbed off on me. It's always made me uncomfortable.
Yeah, no, that's fair. I did not watch a lot of fighting. Like in real life, except for like at school. And
Mm,
most of the time, those lasted not very long. But it
yeah.
also started from a young age. We were definitely in grade school.
Oh, I remember
When I
kickball, there
saw
was
my
a
first
fight.
fight, I saw two guys on the swings.
Yeah.
And we were definitely children, so but I don't mind if a quick fight breaks out in a sport.
Okay, that makes sense.
Thought there were going to be more fights in rugby, but there weren't. But it was still like watching people use their strength, I think, is what I'm interested in. And like watching all of them be so strong was something that it got rid of my like I want people to fight. I was just like, oh, look how strong everyone is.
Which I don't know. In my mind, I guess it's just I wouldn't expect women to fight in sporting, like because women are just like I know what this is, whereas men
I
only know
know.
how to
And
respond
like
in anger.
I guess honestly, yeah. There wasn't even like a hint of
Yeah.
one. I wasn't even like maybe a fight will happen. Like not even once was I like okay, there's going to be a fight. Not once did I think that, but I did like the strength of everybody and everyone like running after each other. And what's the thing where they do that?
Oh, this like
I don't know.
scuffle. Uh,
Yeah, but yeah,
I think that's what it's called.
there's a word. My friend was telling me what it was, and every time and she would turn, she'd be like, "That's what that is," and I was like, and anyway, that to me, it was like that was the vibe of a fight without actual fighting.
Mm-hmm.
So
That makes sense. I'm glad you enjoyed it.
anyway, it was a great time. I have a new sport I like. My other one is volleyball.
Mm.
I would watch volleyball. I think it's actually very interesting
Mm-hmm.
and fun. But I agree, though, I'd rather be in person
Mm-hmm.
than actually controversial. I don't want to be in person at football games.
I've never
I
been.
think in person football games,
Well, like
well, I mean,
professional, I
even,
guess.
yeah, I've never been to a professional game, but even like a college game, I've been to college games and I was like, this is boring. Where are the lines that they're telling me about? I don't have that great of eyesight. If I'm on the left side, I can't see what's going on the right side.
Football actually bothers me a lot anymore, especially watching in person. Like watching people hit someone in a way to try to hurt them grosses me out. I feel like I don't know, it bothers me, especially like high school
Is
football
the
games.
intention.
Because I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, you're gonna mess someone up for life. Like, why?
hmm Yeah. And like teenage boys, that's how they're getting their anger out. And it's by pushing brains against skulls on purpose. And like I know people who have messed up shoulders and messed up
Yeah.
legs and stuff from football. Ugh. I also just don't do broken bones. That's not for
No, I
me.
can't. It's just hard to watch, and that's the thing too. Is I'm just like, if I ever had children, I'd be like, I don't really want you to play that one.
Yeah, can we not play rugby?
That one also has a
Rugby
lot
there
of
wasn't like
concussion.
head to head.
They have a lot of
Okay, yeah,
concussions
that's true.
though. I mean, tons.
I guess
Probably
that's true.
more so because they're not wearing helmets,
I
actually.
agree. Okay, I did think it was weird they weren't wearing helmets,
Yeah.
but I was just gonna roll with it.
I mean, it's rough. Rugby's a rough sport.
Yeah, yeah. But
Okay,
those are my talking points.
it's time for your lesson. Let me find where I
Very
had it.
excited.
Okay, so we are on the seventh member. This is In. Now he to me looks like a little baby.
He does
This
look
is
like a
how
little.
I know him the best. He's always smiling.
Okay.
And I feel like he's pretty easy to point out because I don't know, I feel like he's extremely unique looking.
Mm-hmm.
He's the youngest member. I don't remember what his little ski zoo is. But he's a vocalist, so he has a very also high pitched. Um, that I don't think that's him.
Okay, but that was a very cute little wave.
But no, he's very cutesy, very like young seeming.
Mm-hmm.
Um, oh, here's a fun photo that shows everyone. I love that. It's all blurry, so don't worry about that. Here's them at I
Okay.
think I want to say this was the Met
That's
last
the
year, maybe.
Met last year. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, oh, oh. Okay, that's fine. I was scared. Okay, so
Me too.
he is right here.
Okay.
So I'll skip over the one we haven't talked to.
Okay.
Changbin.
Two. Talk to.
Ian. Hunjin. Sungmin that you met last week. You know
Mm-hmm.
Felix.
I do know
Han
Felix.
and Bangchan.
Got it.
So I don't have any facts
Oh
about
gosh.
Ian other than he's the youngest and he's a singer.
And he's a vocalist. Those are good facts.
Yeah,
Yeah. Fun. So the second one in we have not met yet.
we have not met yet.
Okay.
But do they all, are you like, yep, they look familiar? Like, you kind of get who's who. Like, the ones that, like, he to me is very distinguishable. Felix is very distinguishable.
Hmm. It's interesting seeing them like in a posed picture compared to like the other
Individual.
pictures where well, yes, but also like photo shoots.
Hmm.
Does that make sense? So like seeing them just like, hey, look over here
Yeah.
is interesting to see them like not with all of the extra like stuff on top.
Well, and
Also,
this was when people were
my
being
screen's
so,
very small.
were very mean to
I
them on the red carpet.
remember that. And that is why I knew that was the Met. I didn't know who they were at the time, but I did know that people were terrible to them. Okay, I love watching the Met.
Hmm.
I love watching people walk in. I know that celebrities are most celebrities are terrible. People should tax the rich, et cetera, et
Hmm.
cetera. But I love watching the Met. But also, hey, this is money to the art. So
Yeah.
I will say. But yeah, last year I was watching it and I did not know who they were, but I don't know who a lot of people are. And I didn't realize that was them, but it was horrible.
It was
People
so
were
bad.
terrible to them.
All the K-pop fandoms came together and were
And
like,
they should.
they outed the guy that was being mean to them. They'd found him immediately and doxed him. And I'm like, good.
Yes. Good.
You don't
Yeah,
get to
I'm
just
glad.
treat that way because they don't speak English, or in your mind they don't speak English, because that's
Right, but then they did.
they do. Like
They were like,
Felix and Bingchan are from Australia. Their
right.
first language is English. Like,
Mm-hmm.
so yeah, it was ucky. My TikTok has been full of the Met Gala because it's really showing. I don't know how they have so many of these, but it's so many videos of people talking about real skin because they're not filtered photos. They're just standard run of the mill photos. And so getting to see everyone's true
Yeah.
texture has been very nice, to be
Mm-hmm.
honest, making them
Yeah.
very human.
I was going to text you. Right now, I don't really know. I don't remember who it was. But I was like, it is kind of nice. I don't know. It makes sense that it's like because the Met specifically, or if it was just seeing celebrities in this light. But I was like, it makes me feel nice that this person who I know is our age looks like they're our
Yeah,
age. And I did really enjoy that. Not in a
I
negative
agree.
way. I just don't I think a lot is filtered and there's a lot of pressure to look a certain way for celebrities, which then in turn turns to just all of us in the natural world. And it's just really nice to see people. They were done up, I mean, obviously, but it was just really nice to see people look
Having signs
their
of
age, our
aging and
age.
well, and
Yeah.
I guess for me, I've seen a lot of videos lately and I do and like no shame to anyone that does Botox filler. Do what you got to do to make you feel good. But talking about all the gorgeous people growing up, how they would be considered not attractive by today's standard because like if you go
Yeah.
watch a show from the early 2000s, late 90s, you're like, hey, everyone's a little because I started watching Sex in the City and I was like, everyone's a little bit uggo, and then I was like, oh, I'm just
Hmm.
so used to seeing the same kind of plasticky looking face that people with
Yeah.
real teeth, real skin texture is so different. But then like the more you watch it, you're like, I prefer this. I preferred when everyone
Yeah.
just looked like I don't know it. And again, do what you got to do. But it is hard when everyone, I think in Hollywood specifically, kind of looks the same. They all kind of have the same face
Yeah.
right now.
Hmm. Especially right now. I don't really know what they're doing, but everyone's getting nipped and tucked. And here's the thing, it looks great, but they also all look the same.
They look like the same person.
They do. And so that it's the hard part is because they also look good, but they also look like the same person.
I think I just hate it for younger women.
Me too.
Because I feel like people are starting so young with needing to achieve some standard that's so much like it's less attainable and then they're doing stuff to their face that you can't take back. And so then
Yeah.
when people like us in our 30s who are like, I've never done anything, do I age gracefully or do I start getting Botox? Because the internet is horrified
Mhm.
by fine lines and
Yeah.
wrinkles and like, you know, I don't know. I always think through that idea that people say that like we weren't meant to see this much people. Like we weren't meant to be this
Right.
exposed to everyone.
Mm. And and my thoughts on it change day to day.
I know.
Some days I wake up and I'm like, I'm doing it. I have the lines, I'm doing it. I can't handle it. And then other days I wake up and I'm like, you know what? I'm in my 30s.
Yeah.
So it's I feel like because we were taught so early, not online and on commercials, you're taught early to like you have to do this to look younger, you have to
Mhm.
do this to look younger, that you never think it's going to happen to you. Like, but I did all of those things.
Mhm.
I did, you know, I watched, I don't know, you just never think it's going to happen to you, and then it starts.
Mhm.
I'm like, oh, I should have done more of that when I was younger. And that, you can't go backwards.
I know.
But I think some people think that Botox makes it go backwards, and it just doesn't.
And I have seen stuff that's like Botox and fillers make a 40-year-old look mid 30s. Like it does, but
Mhm,
then it makes 20-year-olds also look mid 30s. So I think that it just gives the
mhm,
illusion of you look older. And something I'm struggling with as like preparing to get married is so many people do these like major things leading up to their wedding, Botox. They have very specific makeup they go through because they want to feel and look their best. But I don't want to look back on those photos and
mhm.
be like, I looked the best that day. And I've never looked like that
Right.
since.
And I've never looked like that ever again.
Or if you have kids and them being like, hey, what the hell happened? Who's that lady? She is stunning. And you look
Right.
like a
Because you
potato
still
most days.
want to
You know?
you still want to look like yourself. You
Yeah.
still want and I do think that some people again the ones we're talking about where they do all the things and they look great, but I
Yeah.
don't really think they look like themselves, nor do I think they're individuals. And I think such a cool thing that we're all individuals. I
Yeah.
think that's so interesting and so
It is.
fun.
Yeah, so I do that too because there was one day that I was like, "Oh man, this laugh line really she sunk in." But then I'm also like, we got those from being happy and smiling, and it's better
Yeah.
than having horrible frown lines. No shade if you have frown
Hmm.
lines, but like
I have both.
also the ability to get to the age where you start to get wrinkles is a blessing in itself. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know, it's a weird balance. Do what you got to do
Yeah.
to like
Mine have
yourself.
also absolutely. And like I said, some days take
Yeah.
me to the nearest beauty place and shove things in myself.
Lift.
Like you caught me on a day where I just love being who I am. But if you would have caught me 2 days ago when I was crying in my bed, I would have told you to take me to the nearest salon.
Blindfold everyone. Don't let
So
them see me. I know. Cuz I
yeah,
struggle
yeah.
with like the concept of we grew up in a time where it was like we grew up with moms that were like don't leave the house without your makeup on. Like you got to. And I stand by
Mm,
that, but I've gotten better about being on work calls because I'm just like, "Hey, if homeboy's going to turn on his camera, I'm turning mine on." I don't care how I look
yeah.
anymore because I'm like, hey, I this is fine. Like I'm to a point that it's not like I'm just so stunning. I don't even, but I'm just like I'm just gonna be comfortable. I just don't care anymore.
Yeah, my mom, it was never like a when you leave the house you should have your face done, but ours would be, and I stand by this, and this is the difference. Do I have to put a bra on? If
No,
I have
that's
to put a
so
bra on,
real.
we're gonna like also get other things done. Like I'm gonna if that means I have to see people, etc. Um, but I really used to not care genuinely, and then I went through a very long phase of I care a lot. I care a lot
Mm-hmm.
about what people think and what people say, and I'm back at the I'm gonna turn my camera on,
Yeah.
even though I look nuts,
What are they
and
gonna say?
so
I
be
look
it.
ugly? You know, I don't care. I
Right.
brushed my hair and I washed my face today. Like I'm good
Yeah.
enough.
Yeah. Oh, also, when you're at home, when you're working at home, do you ever just like put deodorant on just in case? I mean, I put it on anyway, but sometimes before a meeting, I'm like, I gotta put deodorant on. I gotta spray myself with. No one can smell me.
Sometimes I'll do it to make myself feel better, but most days I'm kind of
Okay,
like, hey,
same.
if I've got a funk, that's okay. I'm in the safety of my house.
And that's your business, not theirs.
They don't know that I got a funk going on here.
They don't
Because some
know.
days, like at home, I'm just like, I'm not going to put deodorant. I'm going to be stinky at home where I'm safe.
Okay, same. But then sometimes I'm like, well, I have my meeting, so I have to put deodorant on. And then I'm like, no, I don't. I
No, I
do.
get
I end
that.
up doing it, but I'm like, I don't have to do that. Anyway, that was a tangent
No,
that
I love
happened
that.
today. So.
Okay, well, what are they listening to other than just two cool friends talking?
Just, just two cool yappers yapping. Well, this is and welcome to Oops All Opinions. My name is that one chick. That is Relax. And if you have an opinion about our opinions, what can they do with those?
They can argue with themselves. This week, our viewers voted on the topic of church. And you can vote this week if
Church.
you're like, I hate this topic. I want a different one. Vote. Vote. We
Vote.
are only listening to the opinion of two wonderful people who are here every week and we love them and they definitely
Yeah.
wear deodorant every day.
They're
They don't stink.
and they're really hot, and they don't have
So
smile
hot.
lines,
And
and
they're
they don't have
probably really
frown lines.
funny.
They don't have any.
No, they're
They're probably
perfect. They
super
look like a
funny and
baby.
cute.
Oh, yeah, they're
Yeah.
basically like a newborn. So,
Yeah.
please go vote. But before we jump into it, I'm not going to give a caveat, okay? Because I don't know the need to, but I want you to give a brief overview of your experience with church. Because I know that sometimes religion can be a hard topic. I'm not saying that, but if you want to share about your religion views, feel free to do so.
Sure. And this is also a pretty recent here's my life story and then also recent thoughts. I grew up as a pastor's kid. A not quite Southern Baptist, but not like a it's Baptist. It's like Midwest Baptist. Preacher's kid, I was very into church, very into religion. I went to a Christian college. Um, Went into it thinking I don't really know, but I left not that. And I took a few years to people call it deconstructing. I don't know. I was just trying to figure some things out with myself. And then a big thing happened at the church I grew up with that involved me and one of my besties' dads. That I was no longer invited to be any sort of leadership. church after they knew me for almost my whole life. And so that was like my final straw with religion at that point. Uh but have always believed and felt that there's still something to believe in, and I still have faith in something bigger than me. I call it God because that is the name that I've always used. And but I don't know about structured religion at this point in my life. I have wanted to start going back to church to like figure it out. I have yet to do that. I've been saying that for months. Um, but I'm kind of unsure if I want to do the church thing again.
Mm-hmm.
But that's kind of where I'm at the moment.
Okay, very good. Grew up Methodist. We were
Mm.
more of a, we had so many kids in our family that it was like, we're going to haul up and go to this church when we can. So we would try to go to it. We grew up with like prayer and home and stuff. Even as a kid, I've never been a big church person. I don't know what it was
Mm.
growing up. It always made me feel, even as like a child, I'd get hot and sweaty and be like, I'm going to hell. Every experience in church felt like I was being shamed into something. So I'm not big into attending church. I, similar to you, have beliefs. I don't fully know how to decide. I think there is something more, but I
Mhm.
also don't believe that every other religion is wrong. I don't like that mentality. I don't like any that harm others, obviously, but I have the mentality of be a good person. I do believe that there are forms of afterlife. I believe there could be
Mhm.
reincarnation. I do believe in ghosts. Um, and
Yeah.
I don't like the shaming because I know a big thing. Like, obviously, you've been pulled into like witch TikTok, and people being like, "How can I be a Christian and a witch?" And then others explaining the similarities. Like, it's all just kind of a belief system, to be honest. Like, it's
Mhm.
meditation, it's affirmations, I just don't like the taking down of other religions. So for me, unclear. There's something. But I'm
I
not going to go
yes,
tell
I
someone they're wrong or recruit them into my beliefs.
nope. I will not. I think that if you look back on like before the white people showed up here, even tribes believed in things. And
Hmm.
like religion is something that happened in Pangea. You know what I mean? Like people believed in something even before it was all like named.
Hmm.
And so I think because of that, I believe there's something bigger than me.
Yeah.
And that also makes me very hopeful. That makes me very less scared of
Hmm.
what what is out there. Also, I do believe in ghosts, and I'm just gonna say this real quick. I grew up with the Holy Trinity, and that third one is the Holy Spirit, but we don't believe in ghosts, and that always confused me.
That is confusing.
So it was very confusing. I also did the thing where I was sweating in church. Um, I was equally a huge believer. Like I shoved it down people's throats, and I understand that wasn't great. But I was still also just a good person.
Hmm.
And turns out at some point those things don't necessarily go together, especially right now in the world. It's
Yeah.
hard to see those things as equal. Um, but then also I was struggling a lot with like who I was.
Hmm.
So sweating in church and hearing things about yourself that are bad uh did not make me grow up to be someone who was happy to be there. So,
No, that's completely fair. I think I just don't like any element of hating a different type of person. Like I don't know. I don't
no.
like the spewing cuz I do think religion can teach good morals. Like as children like
Me too.
100% good things, but then you start getting that slippery slope where it's like, well, we're good people. We hate the gays. Don't like the
Yeah.
gays. I don't like that. And
And
that's insane.
yeah, we were taught all these things to like be like Jesus, and he was like this good person who hated rich people, and he didn't believe in like he hung out with the less fortunate, he helped the less fortunate, he like all of these stories about who he was. I was like, heck yeah, I
Yeah,
want to be like that
100%.
guy. And then I got older and they were like
Yeah, but
Actually,
what
you're
about
being really liberal.
but also there's immigrants in the country and Jesus wouldn't want us to have them. He would hate the
We
gay
don't want,
people.
and like the rich people, they just got rich because they invested well, and it's okay if they don't pay their taxes and like
Yeah, I
all of,
know they're cheating on
like
their wife, but at least they're not getting an abortion, am I right? Like, no.
ab- absolutely. Yeah, so that it was the older, I think the morals that I grew up with and I was taught are so good and they are so ingrained. And then it was but then I get older and start to make decisions that I still keep all of those morals, but the
Yeah.
things that they don't want. It's such an interesting difference between like, I mean, who I am is look at me. I grew up I was in youth group, you know what I mean? You can just like kind of tell. And but then everything just kind of changed. So,
Yeah. Yeah, the videos now of people using religion and the hateful formality of is a lot. Like
it
not letting
it turned to
Jesus
hate. Not letting Jesus in the country if he does it.
without his paperwork crazy.
It is crazy. And the big event that happened with me is that I turned into the person who was talked about in the kitchen.
Mm-hmm.
Like I turned into the person who was like, "Well, have you heard about that one chick? Did you hear about her?
Mm-hmm.
Well, she can't be a leader because of these things." And I became the person who I used to be a kid and like it was not necessarily, I mean it was gossipy, but that's because that's just what everyone does. So it was
Mm-hmm.
not necessarily a bad thing, but I then in turn became that person where they would smile and hug me and then would I would be in the group chat as a
Mm-hmm.
topic, not a person.
Yeah.
So that's just also a real thing that happens in churches too. And so
Yep. It's
so
an
be it.
interesting space. So I have two stories here.
It is.
And I'm gonna start
Perfect.
with this one. Am I the asshole for saying a little kid ruined the youth group trip? Probably. The kid probably did ruin it, though. I agree.
I was about to say the kid probably as a kid who was in youth group, we probably ruined that trip.
My female 16. Also, you're a child. 16 is a little kid still, in my opinion. You are
Oh,
still a child. Sorry,
yeah.
you're a kid.
Get off Reddit.
My female 16 church youth group just spent 4 days in LA. We went to Disneyland for 2, Universal Studios for 1, and spent a day at the beach. What kind of youth group is this, dog?
What kind of Hey, why
Kind of
wasn't I invited to youth group? My gosh.
Yeah, who's paying for that? This trip was supposed to be for kids between 14 and 22, with the 18, 22-year-olds chaperoning, but they made an exception for 2 kids. A 13-year-old who will be turning 14 in a couple months after the trip and is pretty responsible and can take, sorry, they have so many weird filler words and commas, and I don't,
That's okay.
anyways, and can take care of herself. And what was supposed to be another 13-year-old about to turn 14. The second kid was really 8 and nobody found out until her mom dropped her off at the church. By the time anyone realized she wasn't someone's sibling, her mom was already gone. Holy cow. Okay. The priest was also there, but he didn't really do anything. They tried calling the kid's mom, who said she couldn't pick the kid up because she was on her way to the airport to go on vacation, and that the kid's dad will be picking her up at the end of the trip. There wasn't a name or phone number for the dad on the paperwork, and the kid said she didn't know her dad's number because he just got a new number. They ended up letting her go because there wasn't anyone to pick her up. Basically, the way the trip worked was one of the 18 to 22-year-olds would drive 2 to 3 14 to 17-year-olds, and we'd share a room at the hotel. I ended up sharing a car and room with both the 8 and 13-year-olds and Emma, 22. Emma's the oldest of 10, so she knows how to take care of kids and took care of the 8-year-old the entire time. But everything had to be child friendly all the time except after she'd go to bed. The 13-year-old would babysit so we could go out. We had a midnight curfew, and the kid was in bed by 8. I was talking to my friend, and I said there's a little kid in the room, and she's ruining the trip. Well, the kid heard me and wouldn't stop crying. Emma was pissed and said it's okay to feel that way, but I can't say stuff like that in the room because she technically didn't do anything wrong, and this is her mom's fault. things were pretty tense after that, and Emma was a lot less cool after that, so I wanted to know if I was the asshole.
No, no. I agree. It's not the kid's fault. It's definitely the parents' fault. Blame the parents. But if I'm 16, I've said worse things
Mm.
at church camp. You know what I mean? Like, who cares where you said it? That person's not the asshole. The mom of the 8-year-old is.
Yeah, I mean, the 16-year-old's an asshole because all 16-year-olds are. I'll say that.
Right,
I
right, right.
mean, she is 100% a little brat. Um, Also, what were you doing? What were you guys going to do? You're on a youth group trip. What was your nightlife?
Right. Your priest was coming with you, and you're mad that you couldn't go out and like do adult,
Yeah, what were you
grown-up
doing? You're
things.
also a kid.
Also, you're 16.
You're 3 years older than that 13-year-old that you were
Yeah.
with.
Yeah.
I mean, I get it. You're 16. You're basically 25 at that point. Like, you think you're an adult, but
Right. Yeah.
also call CPS. I'm only kidding, but like, what's going on with the parents?
Literally, that mom showed up, dropped that kid off. They don't have any other information. The mom couldn't give them
Thank
the
you.
dad's
Yeah,
number.
Yeah, they're the parents. There's something going on.
Yeah. Hey, oh hey, we're gonna come drop our kid off, and then I'm getting on a plane, and her dad will come pick her up in 3 days.
Yeah,
What?
why can't we get it? Okay, someone said
Who's
info.
paying for it?
Why did no one call the police for child abandonment? The mom obviously lied on the paperwork so she could go on vacation herself with no emergency contact. What if the kid had a weird reaction?
You're gonna go. She's going to put her 8-year-old in a car with a bunch of teenagers. And here's the thing: what was it, up to 22?
Yeah.
I don't trust a 22-year-old with my 8. If I don't know them, I'm not trusting a 22
I
with
wouldn't want
my
yeah.
8-year-old.
Well, and yeah, they're in a youth group thing, but you don't know what your kid's gonna learn from those 16-year-olds. Absolutely not.
Like, I have stories from church camp. I would not
Someone
leave
said
my
call
8-year-old.
CPS. So I'm not too far off. Like, that's all weird.
That is, I don't understand. I don't understand the mom, and I don't understand. Even if the oldest person was 25, it was a trip for 14-year-olds to 25-year-olds. Why kick them out?
Also,
You get to sleep at the church for 3 days.
yeah, I just think that's so weird that they called mom. She's like, sorry, I gotta catch a flight. Insane.
That actually is insane. Because even, okay, so I'm going to assume this trip was told to the church. They were like, everyone, we got a trip to Disneyland and Universal, which is nuts. There's so much witchcraft happening at Universal that we're going to be gone for this amount of days. It's for 14 to 20 some year olds. Sign them on up. And she hopped on that to take her own vacation. This is not the same as when you go into a restaurant with a kid and you're 4, a 6-year-old. You know, get a free meal out of it, but not a multi-day trip. Did she think they weren't going to find out?
I don't know. And like, I do feel bad for the 8-year-old. Obviously, your parents don't care about you. And also hearing that heartbreaking, because you know she had to be amped to hang out with the big kids, and then she finds like, oh, that kid. I hope she's okay. But
yeah,
I don't know. The mom, someone called the police, please, on the mom.
Literally.
Now the overall vote was
my niece
asshole.
is 9. Okay. Oh.
Yeah.
That OP was the asshole?
Yeah.
I think they just said something. I don't really, it's not the kid's fault, sure, but this is not, at least it's not, what was her name? Emma? I forgot. Whoever her name, the 22-year-old. If it was that person, it'd be like, okay, yeah, you can't call an 8-year-old.
Mm-hmm. But also,
she's
an
16.
8-year-old's not going to look like a 13-year-old. Like, thinking of your niece, like, I would be like, oh, that's not a teenager. Immediately.
even right now, she doesn't look like she could be a teenager, and she's like 9.
Yeah. I feel
Like,
like I could have
there's
clocked it
no
from the day. I'd
way.
been like, "Are you sure?"
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that the 16-year-old is an a-hole because 16-year-olds are a-holes.
Yeah.
I think you're
Not
correct.
unrelated to the story. She's just going to be one because she's
Yeah,
16.
just they all are, we all were, and that's okay.
Yeah.
I don't think because of the story they are.
No.
I don't think so. But okay. Am I the asshole for forcing my kid to go to different churches/temples to learn about religion?
No. That's a good idea. I like that.
Yeah. Okay. My daughter is in 8th grade, 13 years old. So this is what an actual 13-year-old is. 8th grade. Not 3rd. And we are not a religious household. I got called in last week for her bullying a girl. Long story short, Maggie brought in her grandma's rosemary. Is that rosary? I think it's supposed to
Mm-hmm.
be rosary. In her grandma's rosary, and my daughter took it. Maggie is not the daughter. Sorry. Maggie is the girl, is a different girl. Long story short, Maggie, different girl, brought in her grandma's rosary, and my daughter took it and made fun of her for believing in her religion. The whole thing ended with it breaking. Eek. She got detention, and I had the conversation about respecting people, even if you don't believe what they believe, within reason, especially when they weren't doing anything wrong. If she was saying fucked up crap, that would be a different story, but she wasn't. She doubled down that she did nothing wrong. I had enough and told her she will be learning about religion. She thought I was joking. Today I took her to mass. It was fine, nothing shocking. We got in an argument in the car when I told her we will be going to a synagogue this weekend. This resulted in an argument and she thinks I'm a jerk. My aunt is now on my ass about this and my wife thinks I'm going too far. Am I the asshole?
No.
Nope.
Not at all. I think that's good parenting.
I honestly think that's the best reaction.
Yeah, your kid's a bully. You got to figure out something.
And to like prove that there are different religions, and even if, especially if you're not a religious household, to be like, hey, people have different beliefs and different thoughts.
Yeah.
Because I also think, as someone who's not really sure, I get kind of standoffish with people who are like, fuck religion.
Yeah. No. Agreed.
And so I feel like this is the best case scenario, honestly. Your kid never grew up with religion, so you're going to take them to different ones. I think that's perfect. I think that's really good.
Yeah, I like believe what you want, but the second you start attacking someone for their beliefs, like with something like that, you're in the wrong. You lost me.
Yep. It doesn't matter how old you are. I'm glad they started young. Not the bullying. I'm glad the parents started this.
Glad the bullying starting
I'm
young.
glad that kid really fucked. No, I'm glad the parent was like, okay, we're nipping this right
Yeah.
now. And I think that's great. The overall was not the a-hole, which
Good.
is great. Someone said she's at the age where everything you do is going to make her think you're a jerk. That's true.
That's fair.
Oh, this person said that, but this is such a different thing to me. This person says, not always the case. I was raised in a Baptist Christian household and had to go to church on Sundays. Also a goth/alternative lesbian. I now have a disdain for Christianity. I think that's a different thing. Because you're not forced, he's not forcing her to be a Christian. He's just, I assume this is they have a wife. Sorry. They're just taking their kid to be introduced to different religions to just show what they are. They're not forcing their kid to be the religion.
No, they're not saying pick one. They're just like, these are the different beliefs. No, I think
these are different religions. So I read that, and that, to me, I feel like some people may think about that, but as someone who was low-key forced to go to church every Sunday, I think that is a whole different, that's a different topic.
Honestly, I love the
So,
idea of exposing your kids to the different
me
religions out
too.
there and not necessarily being like, this is what we are, so you are that too, without like talking to
Yeah.
them.
Yeah, I kind of wish I would have gone to other things. My mom, we are not Catholic like I mentioned, but my mom loves going to midnight mass for Christmas. And so I've been a couple of times with her, and it's just to kind of take in what they believe, and we just kind of sit in the back and watch and appreciate. But then at the same time, when I randomly asked my parents how we knew that our religion was correct, my dad just said because he read about the other ones and ours was right.
Yeah, I
So,
don't. Yeah,
you know,
yeah, yeah.
there's to and fro.
I don't like the inability to ask questions like that. I don't.
Yeah.
That's one thing that's been a hang up is like, I remember saying as a kid, like, well, I don't know why people hate on like religion because, like, so what if we're wrong? And that was the wrong comment because we're not wrong. And I was
Oh,
like, oh,
yeah.
well, I'm just saying, like, what's it hurting them for our beliefs? Like, it's not
Right.
going to affect them if we're wrong.
Right.
We're not wrong.
Yeah.
So,
We're not wrong. Yeah. That was, I think the fact that everyone believes that they're not wrong was like, okay, so
I don't like that either. I
someone's got
think
to be
there's,
wrong.
I know, that's what I was
Someone
like,
has to be wrong.
well, yeah.
Yeah.
So,
But no, I think that this, honestly, I wish this would have I wish I was forced to go to different ones as a kid to
hmm
like experience it, not to like have to be involved with it. And I kind of think that's what this parent was trying to do,
yeah.
which I appreciated actually.
Okay. Um, am I the asshole for being bigoted against a kid's religion?
Bigoted.
Mm-hmm. In air
Maybe.
quotes.
Yeah. Maybe.
My husband, 42 male, and I, 42 female, have 3 kids. Our son Liam, 12 male, is in middle school. At Liam's school, there is a Bible study club. Because it's a public school, the teachers and admin cannot be directly involved. They can only be present to ensure no one gets injured. Same rules would apply for an atheist club. The Bible club was started by a boy, 13 male, who attends our church. We are, I never pronounced this right, Pentecostals?
Pentecostal.
Yeah, he's a
Mhm.
good kid, loves baseball, and treats Liam with respect. Liam has been bullied throughout his school career because he's on the more feminine side. He loves Taylor Swift, ballet, and Stanley Cups. My husband and I have always made it clear to Liam we love him regardless. The Bible study club is open to anyone. There's a girl, 13 female, in the club who started attending recently. Her family is Catholic, which we have nothing against. The club met last week, and the boy who I mentioned earlier asked the club if anything is on their mind. The girl says something along the lines of how homosexuality is a sin while looking at Liam. She said that boys should not wear tight clothing like in ballet and how men should be masculine and the providers. It was very obvious these remarks were aimed at my son. The boy tried to stop her, but she kept going on. Liam came home upset and told us what happened. My husband and I were enraged and contacted the school administration. The school is currently working on figuring out what the best plan of action is. Students have a right to form religious clubs, and they still don't know what legally can be done. The mother of the girl has been posting on Facebook about how I am discriminating against her daughter and being bigoted against Catholics. She said that her daughter has the right to talk about Liam however she wants. My husband and I are feeling a lot of emotions and wondering if we are going too far. Am I the asshole?
Okay. No, you're not. Wild that the mom, I'm interested to know if the mom who posted on Facebook said, my daughter's allowed to talk about this kid however she wants, or if she said, my daughter's allowed to have whatever belief she wants. If she straight up was like, my daughter's allowed to talk about this kid however she wants, I'm forming a religious group right now that's punch this lady in the face.
Let's
Dot
take the
com.
bully from your story and have her go bully this kid.
Yeah. Like they're the same age.
Yeah.
We could all get in here. Um, no, but I also don't think that going to the school I think that the school should have already had this conversation. Because get a whole bunch of, and I say this from experience. Get a whole bunch of religious kids in a group that feel like they can talk about stuff, and they're going to say some wild stuff. The amount of things I
Mm-hmm.
posted on Facebook to the world, was wild enough, but you get me in close quarters with people who are like-minded. It starts that age. It's not just adults who do that.
Yeah.
So I think the school should have already had something in place. Why didn't the adult say anything?
Mm-hmm.
And also shout out to the boy, the
Mm-hmm.
friend who invited, because he tried to stop it, and I think that speaks more towards him than anything else in a good way. I think that the parents are doing the right thing by going to the school.
Yeah.
I don't think it has anything to do with, I mean, it could be directed at the girl specifically, but she's the one who said it.
Mm-hmm.
Mm. I don't think they're the asshole. I think that the little girl and her mom's the asshole. And I'm okay with saying that.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Some people are upset with OP about her wording about saying that they love their son regardless. They're just like, you're applying gender norms, blah blah. That's not what the
Oh my
post is
god.
about. But
Yeah.
bully the bully is my
Yeah.
solution.
Yeah. Bully that girl back.
um
Like she's gonna have a boring life with just a masculine man.
oh,
Ugh.
she's going to end up marrying the worst man you know. She's going to end
Oh,
up on
she's
Facebook.
gay.
Oh, yeah, that could be. She might be. She might be fighting against some demons
I
inside her.
posted some Adam and Eve, not Adam and Steve.
Oh, that was the most clever thing in the world, actually, growing up.
Yeah. So really, we were in front of the trends.
Yeah.
Um.
No, that's crazy. No,
No,
I mean, I don't know.
Oh my god. Okay. Okay. The people who are like, regardless of who they are, I have someone who is online that sometimes I will post like for Pride Month and like being yourself, and they're like, you mean their true authentic self? And I was like, you know what? How about we all just shut up?
Yeah, they're focusing on something that doesn't need to be focused on.
Yes.
And like the thing is, like, I don't know.
There was another
They're
one
clearly
recently.
not hating on their own son. They're clearly just being like, here's the facts about him, and this is why it would strike a nerve for him.
Right. And they're just like, and we love him. Like,
Yeah.
that's the whole point of why they said that, was like, here are things about him and we love him. Um oh, I posted something about okay, I posted something about how ice came
Hmm.
somewhere pretty near to where we grew up, and how it can happen in our backyards, et cetera, et cetera. And again, they messaged me and were saying like things that I already know. Like, do people just post stuff and not think? Like they come back at me like I didn't research it in a positive way. They're being positive, but those people who are like, is saying that you accept him for who he is, I'm like, shut.
We know what the
She
messaging is
just had
trying to
to put it
portray.
in. She just had to put it in. Let it go.
Mm.
Anyway, that was a tangent.
No,
Apologies.
I get it. All right, do you want to bring us home with the last story?
I sure do. I lost us on kick. Okay. Okay. Am I the asshole for getting my atheist brother the New Testament for his birthday?
Yeah, probably. Most likely.
Oh wait, I have two. You pick that one, or am I the asshole for telling my parents to stop hooking me up with single girls from their church? And am I the asshole for not wanting to get married? Double. There's a double in one.
Ooh.
Here, let's just say the first one, I feel like that opinion's just gonna be what it is.
That's fair.
Don't get people, if you know they're atheists, do not get them Bibles.
That's true. There's not much
Right?
we could talk about. Go ahead and do the second one.
Okay. Yeah, and I'm just gonna let you know that one was asshole for
As it should be.
bright red. Yeah. Okay. Sorry, I forgot I had a third one. Okay. The last year and a half has been hard for me, to say the least. Last March, my brilliant and hilarious and beautiful girlfriend Natalie suddenly passed away. Everyone always gave shit about us because of politics. We met in college Whoa. There are no apostrophes. There's nothing. Okay. We met in college when we were poli-sci majors. She is very liberal, think AOC, ooh, and I'm pretty conservative, ooh. We actually met because we were serving. Sorry, I made myself giggle. Okay, we actually met because we were serving as treasurers for our school's college Democrats and Young Republicans Club, respectfully, and our groups would get together for drinks or bowling or laser tag once a month. Okay, we love mixing. That's crazy. Well, Natalie and I bonded over a lot of shared interests and we hit it off. Even if we didn't see eye to eye on many issues, debating her was stimulating and formed the cornerstone of our relationship. We'd had debates that went until dawn. We just bounced off each other. She liked to joke that we were drift compatible. Love. I wanted to marry this woman, but she passed away before we got a chance to talk about marriage. I'm in therapy and I'm working through not having her in my life anymore, but it's been rough. Then Rona happened and I got laid off. So I had to move back in with my parents and figured out what I'm supposed to do now. My parents mean well, but they got married really young and are more conservative and religious than me. Oof. Treasure for the conservatives. That's crazy. And they're more than him. They've been trying to set me up on dates with single girls from their church since I moved back home, but I don't want to date these girls. No offense to them, but it's a small town in the American breadbasket. Oh. They don't share the same interests as me, and I feel like their only goal in life is to be a good Christian wife and produce a lot of babies.
Probably.
Trying to talk to them, literally, old girl from the last story. Trying to talk to them about current events is excruciating for me. The girls my parents tried to set me up with take everything they read on Facebook or hear from Fox News for face value. It makes me miss Natalie and our debates more. My parents mean well. This is the second time he's had to say this. I know they want me to find a nice girl and settle down with her, but not like this. They are nothing like Natalie and never will be. I miss her, even if my folks don't like her ideas. But when I told them the other night that I wanted them to stop setting me up on dates with these girls, they freaked out and told me I needed to consider settling down since I just turned 30. They're good girls from great families, I know that. And my parents like them more than they like Natalie, but she was my one and only. I don't think it's fair for anyone when I still love her. They're even more angry at me because I told them that I just don't see myself getting married anytime soon. But like I said, Natalie was my soulmate, and I just can't see myself being with anyone else but her. Yet they are insisting that I need to find a woman and settle down and give them grandchildren. Okay, we have a couple edits. I might go ahead and...
Yeah, go ahead and do them.
Might go ahead and do it. Edit. We were seriously close to talking about marriage, but around the time she died, it was more like how funny it would be if the bridal party were blue and the groomsmen were red, because the bride is a Democrat and the groom is a Republican / Romeo and Juliet deal. Fuck, I wish we got to do that. Natalie thought it was hilarious. Edit of the edit. Sweet Disney's ghost. I'm ashamed to admit this, but I broke down when I saw all of your responses. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. You are great and wonderful people, and God will reward you for your kindness. Your support is overwhelming. I haven't felt this supported in a very, very long time. I'm reading all your comments. Thank you so much. I've been feeling so lost for a long time, and with the virus, it has been sending me into a tailspin. I'm saving this post so when I feel dark, I can come here and read your comments, and I know that even though we are strangers, we have each other's backs. And in this day and age, we need it even more than ever. God bless y'all.
Hey, big dog. I don't know how to break this to you. I think you might be a Democrat. You like a feminine woman, a feminist, I meant. I think you might be a Democrat. I think that's the hang up because you don't,
Yeah, I want to know where he is now.
Yeah.
In this day and age, Corona, like at the beginning of that, I feel like people could still...
He's got, since he's calling it a coronavirus and that he believes in it, I think he's not a lost cause. He didn't call it the China virus, or he didn't say it's fake.
Literally.
So he might have a chance.
And hey, I went into college being very much a Republican.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's fair. You can, and it took me a while to be able to write that down that I wasn't one. So I think he's in the middle. I think if he liked debating with her, he liked her thoughts, he liked how her mind worked. Also, so sorry, bud. That
Mm-hmm.
sucks.
Yeah.
Like, how terrible. And also for your family trying to force you to get married after your girlfriend dies. Like, you didn't just break up. She died.
Yeah.
Let this boy
Break up with your
take
parents.
however long he wants. Break up with your parents. Yeah, he needs to do more than just go to his room and scream.
Yeah. No, not the asshole,
I don't think,
obviously.
like, at all. In no way. But also, to try to force someone to be in a relationship, say he did. He went through with it. He married some girl from this church when he's still very much in love with this person who is dead.
Mm-hmm.
He's still thinking about her. He's comparing people to her. He's like, and again, they didn't break up. She's just gone. That's a different thoughts, different vibes. That marriage will not be happy. I
No.
mean,
And that's not fair to the
they
girl
can get
either.
there. No, it's not fair to them. And then they want grandchildren. My parents finally like my grandma was the big one with like she wanted us to have kids. But like you're going to want grandchildren raised in a house that is not started with love, you
Hey,
know?
can we just have parents stop telling their kids they want grandkids? Just stop saying that. You're just putting a weird pressure on them for no reason. They're already having thoughts and probably battling internally about whether they want children,
Mhm.
especially in this economy and day and age. Let's leave
Mhm.
them alone. Let them do
Yeah,
what they're going
let's
to do.
just
They'll
stop
tell
doing
you.
that. Yeah.
They're not going to be like,
And like
oh,
I
I
feel
didn't
very
know you wanted grandkids. Let me go get on that,
yeah.
actually. What?
Oh, I mean that's like the thing that every parent I think every parent kind of wants it at
Hmm.
some point. And also, hey, you already did your what do you want to do it again?
Hey,
Why
shut
do
the
you
fuck
want
up about it.
yeah,
Simple.
yeah, yeah. Let's look up some facts about female bodies.
Hmm.
AFAB bodies don't necessarily produce kids every time. I believe it's 10% of every pregnancy, every known pregnancy ends in miscarriage. And that is only like the natural,
Hmm.
like whatever, like you don't even know sometimes. Let's start talking about that out loud more.
Hmm.
So that's my little 2 cents there is yeah, not just stop asking for your children to give you to then give you children. You already did it once.
Hmm.
What you trying? I don't understand. Want to start over? Get a niece. I don't know.
Yeah.
Foster children. I don't. If you want kids so bad, that's just kind of my. I love being an aunt. Oh, I guess that's true. I love being an aunt.
Hmm.
But it's different. I never asked my sister to give me.
No, that's the difference. Yeah. All
No.
right.
And,
Well, we. Oh,
yeah.
sorry.
No, that was all. That kid, I say kid, he's in his 30s. I don't care. We could be the same age. We could be friends with this guy, not the asshole. Those parents need
Yep.
to stop doing what they're doing. And I feel bad for those girls who are trying to get hooked up with him.
Yep.
Also, you're a
Agreed.
Democrat, baby.
Yep. You might be. All right. Well,
Yeah.
that is the end of this 13th episode of Oops All Opinions. I'm relaxed. That's
Exciting.
that one chick. And what can they do if they didn't like today's opinions?
They can get on the phone and start saying that they can say that we are ruining their trip. But while they're doing it, they can
Yep.
argue with themselves.
Absolutely. Please rate and review us wherever you listen, and please vote in our poll. We have fun topics. If you want to tell us a poll idea, you can give us a comment. Just whatever you can do, give us 5 stars. Say we're cute.
So we're cute. Said we don't need Botox today.
Yeah, say you didn't even notice that wrinkle on the right side of my face. Left side. It'd be
Yeah.
your right.
And if you did, keep that to yourself
Yeah,
too.
go sit in the room and
I
go
don't
think
want
about
to
what you said.
trust me, I'd see it.
Yeah, no, I get it. But we appreciate you
Yeah.
listening. Hi all across the country to our international people
Across the world.
across the world.
I'll be international next week.
That's true. That's true.
I mean, we may not stream next week because
Yeah,
that's a lot of stuff to take
I
on the
was
plane.
gonna say I don't know. We might have to take a little hiatus until you get back, which is fine. Which is fine.
Or you're gonna get a terrible
Yeah,
phone.
I think it's not
And
worth it.
that,
I
hey,
say this is our announcement that we're taking 2-week hiatus while you're gone.
this one, I'll be
Okay.
back.
So you won't see us next week, but join us next week. That gives you time to write and review us and vote. So
It gives you enough time.
okay. Well, kisses. Put the milk back in the fridge when you leave. Clean up your dishes. Go dust up above the door frame in your bathroom. You know that little crevice you don't see? Go dust. And we'll see you.
Don't put it down, put it away.
Absolutely. We'll see you next week. Ta ta.
Not next week, 2 weeks. Goodbye.
2 weeks. Bye bye.